YLELiveEvent.com Coaches Show is presented to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation. I'm Chase Miller. Winter season is upon us, and we'll start off the show with Hillsboro-Central Valley Wrestling coach Rob Owens, as the Burros have already been on the mat, and they also will entertain the Hillsboro Wrestling Jamboree on Saturday, December the 2nd. We'll have that for you at 9:30 right here on YourLiveEvent.com, again, a week from Saturday. Now we'll transition to hardcore and talk with a couple of girls basketball coaches on the North Dakota side. Class B girls basketball coach in the Maple River Raiders, that is Nathan Hoots, will join the conversation. And the defending champ of Class B, Jay Bachman of the Central Cass Squirrels. And with the three-class system, they're playing in Class A. We'll talk about with Jay Bachman coming up around the corner as well. Also, we'll chat with Norman County Eastfield and Hitterall girls basketball coach Brad Dunham and have our senior spotlight with Halle Reitmeier from Climax-Fisher. Let's get right into the conversation and get to that two-point takedown with Rob Owens of the Hillsboro-Central Valley Burros, who spoke with our own James Martins.
Back on the Your Live Event Coaches Show, we're talking wrestling, and on most of our preview interviews for the season, we're talking to the coaches before the games and competitions start. Rob Owens and Hillsboro-Central Valley Wrestling have already gotten their feet wet, so to speak. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but Rob, thanks for the time, and it's great to be back in wrestling season, I'm sure.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to be here. You guys do such a nice job and cover us so well. It's always nice to have you guys put us out there, and as kind of we talked off before we started this, I teach, and it's so nice to hear some of my students say, "Oh, we watched you on your live event last night," which always builds our following and gets me more kids out, and it's always a nice thing to have. But you're right, we did have a good match last night, so we're back into it.
Yeah, let's talk about that. A couple of dual wins last night. Your thoughts on opening night for the Burros?
For this year, we really have been concentrating on being one of the better shaped teams of the year and making sure that we have good, solid, basic skills. Our kids have slowly gotten better. The quality of our kids have gotten better because they're not all brand new. We are building off of a team that's been around for a while. We have like 4 kids that are brand new this year that never touched wrestling, which is, it's about 3 less than we normally get. It's usually about 7. And we slowly have been building our team. We have 17 boys out, and that helps with having only 13 weight classes. So we can fill most of them. We still need a 215 pounder or two. Yeah, I think that's 215. I get still remembering the weight classes and things like that. And so I think we did pretty well last night. It was fun. It was good. So we wrestled against Lisbon JV last night, and we showed that we are better than a JV team. Lisbon's JV is not the usual JV team. They have a full squad, and their kids are pretty darn good. So we took it to them, and we wrestled well. We looked good, felt good, and everybody came off the mat happy. And then we wrestled Northern Cass, which was nice because that was their first home event ever. So we got to be a part of it, and we walked away with the win on that as well.
And quite a run last year at the state tournament at the Fargo Dome, just outside the top 10 team-wise in 11th place. But you had, of course, Henry Nelson was the state champion last year. He goes to graduation, but I believe you have 5 more returning from last year from the state tournament, including 2 placers, I believe. Your thoughts on bringing those guys back?
Well, again, having some more seasoned wrestlers on our team helps us to be better. Sawyer Owens, my son, he's a good kid. He's my last one, and he took second in state. He had a really good state tournament. It was really fun to watch, and he was seeded 5th. Anytime you can beat your seed, that's a big goal. And then Carson Cassette, he came in as, I think he was seeded 7th. And ended up with 5th. He had a good tournament as well, beat some kids that, he should beat, but in his mind, he didn't know. But he went out there and took it to him. Then we had Braden Chenault, who was 1 away from placing. And we had Ben Thompson, who ran into the roughest part of the bracket at that time. I think he had the number 1 guy. And it was a mess. But and then I'm trying to think of Fernando Rios. It came out as a heavyweight, and Fernando, he was the kid who came in last year, and I got him. He was in my biology class. He's didn't play football last year, and I just said, "Would you ever think about wrestling?" And he's like, "Well, maybe." And then he was on this health kick and lifting weights, and I said, "If you want to come out for wrestling, you don't even have to compete. Maybe I'll ask you to step out and grab a forfeit, but just come and practice with us. I think it'll be good for you, good for us." And about middle of December, he said, "I'd like to wrestle a match before, Christmas break." And it happened that we had one on the 19th. He went out there and he won his first match. And then he was like, "This is great." A lot of pressure was off. He felt like he had, some good skills. And he continued to work hard and made the state tournament. I mean, for a kid who's a heavyweight, unfortunately, there's just not a lot of big kids who wrestle anymore. And it's one of those things that there's not that many kids that are heavyweight. And I love having them because it's like having another 6 points in your book all the time. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's hard to find heavyweights and 106 pounders for some reason. That's one of the things. We have one of each.
Coach, you mentioned your son Sawyer again. A great run at 126, if memory serves me right, and knocking out Lane Cooper, the top seed from Bishop Ryan. That was a heck of a win for him, and I'm sure, as a dad and as a coach, it was an enjoyable ride for you personally.
I honestly, the whole time, I'm thinking that song. Today's going to be a good day. Just kind of sitting back, feeling it. And it seemed to all work out. Sawyer had a weird year. He had some bad calls, and he's a freshman. So again, things are a little bit more dire when you're a freshman because, you think you know everything, but in reality, you really don't. And so I think in the end, he realized that karma does come around, and, he'd rather have the wins at the state tournament. He didn't place at the Castleton tournament. He, had a mistake in East-West that cost him a match. I mean, but when it really got down to it, when it counted the most, he, sat in there and showed that he was mature enough to just relax and wrestle the matches. And that's what got him to, the finals. He wrestled the kid from Williams County that had beat him earlier at East-West. And he was down and going into the third period, chose down and got away. And then the kid made a mistake. He capitalized on it, won the match. And then Cooper came out. He's down by Cooper as well. And he didn't get worried. He just wrestled. And, Cooper made a mistake and we capitalized on it. And, success came from it. And that's kind of what I talk about in practice. If you're in better shape than everyone else, that third period is yours. And I always say, it's not over until that whistle blows and they raise the other guy's hand. So we keep moving and we keep firing because anybody can make a mistake. Anybody can make a mistake that's going to cost them a match. And we've all seen it. All the coaches have seen it, where it's like we're leading by 3 or 4 and then the tide turns and now we're looking at a 3-point deficit, and that's hard to overcome.
Coach, wrestling, just like any other sport, is always developing, always growing, always changing. And of course, with the introduction of girls wrestling over the last couple of years, and there might be some other changes I hear with maybe the weight classes and things of that nature. Tell me about the girls program at Hillsboro-Central Valley and any other changes that fans might want to know about this year.
Well, right now we have 3 girls out for wrestling. We have a 7th grader, an 8th grader, and a 10th grader. We have Gabby McNamara. We have Emily Smith, who have never, Gabby wrestled in little kids. She wrestled for a year. And then Emily, who was Adam Smith's sister, Adam graduated last year from us. And Emily has never really touched the mat before. They haven't won a match yet. But you know what? We don't worry about that. We worry about, have we made a full period yet? Have we got a takedown yet? Have we got an escape yet? We look at the small goals, especially with our girls. We're building. That's all we're doing. Crystal has been with us since 8th grade. She's a sophomore now. She made it to the state tournament last year. And, that's a huge accomplishment because last year was the first year that they said the girls had to qualify, which before it was you just come and everybody can be in it. But this, she did it on her own. She made it, and we build off of that. And this year she's wrestled 5 times. They wrestled over in the JV. Well, it was a girls' tournament over in Lisbon to get the year started. She won all 3 of those matches, and last night she wrestled some good girls, from a girl from Grand Forks Central, and then the girl from Northern Cass, and she did very well. So for us, the girls are solid. Crystal's a great role model for our girls, and we need to just get her a little bit more cocky and a little bit more fired up and capitalize on things. So in regard to changes, as I said, we have 13 weight classes this year instead of 14. That helps smaller schools like us that have smaller programs. The weight classes, like I said, I'm still getting used to them. Then, the numbers are all different. And then our regions are different. We have an East region and a West region, which is going to be way different. I mean, I don't even know how it's going to play out. It's going to be, we've got, the East region. So we got the Lisbons, the South Borders, the Northern Lights, the Carringtons, the teams that have historically been, in the last couple of years up there in the top part of the state, so we're going to have to wrestle. 7th and 8th place, we'll still get a couple kids in that are, kind of the kids who kind of squeak in. Those 7th and 8th place will still come in. So the top 8 from each region will go. And then, it's kind of the same place. There's a couple rule changes, but other than that, it's pretty normal. We haven't made big advances like they have on the college scene, but maybe that's coming down the line. So,
Rob, you mentioned, of course, the changes of going from 4 regions down to 2 regions, just an East and a West, and that might change your schedule a little bit. To kind of walk us through the some snapshots of the schedule this year.
Yeah, I should say something, though, just as a caveat, though, for region duels, though, we still have the 4 regions. So, but we have different teams in our region for the region duels. Like next week when we go to Rolla, which is brand new for any of us, we've never wrestled Northern Lights as a duel. I mean, it should be interesting. It's going to be a heck of a car ride, but you got to do it. So they're in our region and in our like mini region for our duels too. So they should be a good team this year. They had a lot of good placers last year, and they're going to have a lot of good kids. So that's probably the team to watch in our smaller region. And then, we still go to the rugby tournament. We started doing that last year, which is a good thing. We start seeing some of the Western teams. We still go to the East-West tournament. Central Cass, I believe we're still going to that one. I believe they still have in their tournament this year. So those kind of stay with us, but we're going to see some other teams that maybe we haven't seen in the past, like Rolla, that's one. And we're still working on maybe, next year setting up a South Border or a EEK type situation where we can wrestle a couple of teams of those. And like you saw last night, it was a long day of wrestling because we started out at 5:15 or 5:45, and it ended up at, I think it was 9:20 or 9:15 when we finally finished everything. And that was with teams that weren't even full. So when we have a lot of teams that have full rosters, it's going to be a long night. We're going to start earlier. We'll have some matches start at 5:00 as opposed to 6 or 7 because we have quads or tries. So that makes it more difficult for us. And kids are going to have to learn how to manage their time. That's like we made the remark last night with my coaches that we felt like our downtime, our kids were still into it. And that's that mental part of the game that is lost on some, but is the difference between making the finals or making it to state or winning that big tournament. Is that mental game. And I think they did a good job last night proving that they can stay up for, a match or two with, an hour and a half break in between them.
Yeah, I'm not sure where this ranks as far as our singular broadcast time records, but we had an over 4-hour broadcast for the Monday Night Duels, and a lot of fun. Chase Miller and company helping out with that. So we look forward to many more things like that, including the Hillsboro Jamboree coming up on, I believe, Saturday, December 2nd. Kevin Kaufman and myself will be out chronicling that. So talk a little bit about that tournament.
Oh, it's going to be fun. It'll be very characteristic of what we've had in the past. We'll I think we run up against DGF. We get to see Lemoore. We get to see Monoman-Waban. And those two teams, DGF and Monoman, just finished up football last Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see where they're at. DGF will have some good kids for both Sawyer and Carson to wrestle, which will be good for them. The others, for us across the board, we're going to have some good competition. It's always tougher to find for our top or kids that are a little more up there to find good competition because, sometimes they get a forfeit when they shouldn't. It's one of those things. So, but we will, at our tournament, we're going to have Mayville's going to come in, they haven't been there in a long time, which is good for Mayville's program to come in and get some more exposure. The nice thing about our tournament is you get 5 guaranteed matches. That's hard to find nowadays where you can get 5 matches. You run a tournament, you're lucky to get, maybe you get 3 if you win it, you get 4 if you take third or, place lower. So we're looking at 5 matches of good competition. We'll have New York Mills there as well. We'll have, it's hard to remember all the teams that we have, but Northern Cass is coming again. So, there's 10 teams that are going to be there, and West Fargo will be the Class A team out of North Dakota that comes. And they won it last year, if I remember correctly, and they have brought some good kids, so it was fun.
Rob, anything else you want to mention to our viewers here on the Coaches Show tonight?
One more change, just so you know, you'll probably see the tournaments go a little bit faster. You'll see these things go a little bit faster because of the fact that now there used to be a 45-minute break in between wrestling. So if you wrestled at 1 o'clock and finished up your match, you'd have to wait till 1:45 before you could start your other match. And they have hopefully, they've done it. So I'm happy about it. They moved it from 45 to 30 minutes now. So that means that a round now starts 15 minutes earlier. And that can have a big impact if you have like a tournament like ours, where we have 9 rounds. So we're talking about a couple hours saved in start times and things like that. Not saying that we want to get done faster, but it does take care of a lot of the downtime issues that we run into. And especially when you have smaller teams that it's like, oh, well, we got to go right away, and we got to sit and wait till our time comes up. So that's a nice change too.
Some great storylines, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun covering wrestling here. I know we'll have a lot of fun covering wrestling on Your Live Event. Check out our full schedule, yourliveevent.com. That's Hillsboro-Central Valley head wrestling coach Rob Owens joining us on the Coaches Show. Rob, thanks so much, and have a great season.
Thank you, James. Thanks for all you guys do, and you guys did a good job last night. I watched it online too right after I got home, so keep it up. Love it.
Hey growers, when working on your water management solutions, call Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. They are your water management contractor, helping you with tile drainage plans, service drainage plans, or both. Remember, water management is a lifetime investment. Call Chad 701-430-0182 to get your water problem solved. For more information, follow Chad's Excavating on Facebook. For tile drainage and service plans, call 701-430-0182. Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Do you want that new boat? Are you building onto your home? Maybe you want the new camper or ATV. Dakota Heritage Bank can help you. This is Dustin Nagel, president at Dakota Heritage Bank Hillsboro location. You can visit with me or our other loan officers to help with loans and lines of credit from Dakota Heritage Bank. We are serving you with locations in North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. Dakota Heritage Bank offers financial services you expect with a local perspective. dhbanknd.com. Dakota Heritage Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
There's more at 104. Hillsboro, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsboro and see why there's more at 104.
As we continue on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, we get to the hard court now with a couple of conversations with Nathan Hoots of the Maple River Raiders and Jay Bachman of the Central Cass Squirrels. We join the conversation here shortly. Well, part of our winter preview here for the first couple weeks on our YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show is on the North Dakota side. Class B girls basketball going to be underway already next week here for their season opening games. And for the Maple River Raiders, a couple of games at home next week, which will be nice. They will have their opener against the Hankinson Pirates on Tuesday night right here on Your Live Event. Nathan Hoots joins us now here from the Maple River Raiders. And Hoots, it's always that transitional season, right? You get done with volleyball. We just had state volleyball last week, which means girls basketball is not coming up too far around the corner. You've already had some scrimmages. You already had practices in as well. So just your early, week and a half that you truly been together now as a unit here, Hoots. How's everything been going for your team?
It's been going well so far. We got a really good group of girls, a lot of experience returning. We graduated one senior that played, pretty much every single game from 8th grade through senior year. Graduated another girl that was an excellent off the floor type of leader for us. But we have a ton of girls coming back. We're pretty balanced from seniors on down through 8th graders. We got a couple of girls pretty much in every single class that I anticipate providing some type of whether depth or practice bodies or, some actual on-court varsity help for us. I've been really happy with the 17 girls that have come out through the first 7 days that we've had.
Able to go into this year here. I know you've been asked it probably a ton, 3-class system. What's your thought? What do you want to kind of see the first month of the year? But the one thing with it, districts comes back to the eastern side of the state, which we haven't had in nearly a decade. So for fans, that'll be a little bit new. Go to districts, go to regionals. If you needed a state qualifier before you get to state here, Hoots. So what's the one thing from your point of view that you're most excited about, bringing districts, going Class B, seeing the 3 classes, even though you have been Class B, but seeing some of those teams now in Class A that were your region rivals that aren't going to be there anymore, Hoots?
I think parity is the biggest thing. It gives everyone, if they have that, maybe that once in a generation type of team, that group that may not have been good enough a year ago, they certainly could be good enough now. There's a renewed sense of hope in a lot of small schools that maybe their peak, their goal was, maybe making it to the semifinals of regionals. Now making it to the semifinals of regionals is a realistic goal and maybe the low point of where they want to be this year. We have a lot of girls that I think are excited about the possibility of postseason success. That's kind of evaded us for a while now, probably since the mid 20 teens. So we're really excited. And it's not just us. There's so many schools around us that, when the first day tipped off, the goal was no longer being maybe 500 or a little better than that. It's, hey, every single night you look at the games that matter toward the district standings at the end of the year, and there's no reason you can't be at least competitive in all of those games.
And going into that, what is some of your goals here, Hoots? What are some of your team goals? Every year, it's, as you alluded to, it's the same, right? You want to be competitive. You want to win your region. But this year, it's a little bit different now. Again, you want to win your district to give you a really good opportunity in the district tournament to get to the regionals. Obviously, if you do play for third place, that game matters now than what it has been in the past, which is kind of more of a glorified exhibition. If you win that, then you get to a state qualifier to get you to state. So what's just a team goal that you have for the 2023-24 Maple River squad here, in mid-November?
I think playing meaningful games in tournaments this year. In the past, we've gone in and we've just been happy to be there. Last year we had an injury bug hit us a little bit right before the end of the season in our region game. But this year, selfishly, I'd love to be in that district championship game. It's been a long time since we've had districts, going back almost 10 years. So that'd be something that I personally am hoping for this team. But like I said, playing meaningful games with opportunities for these girls to be able to play in front of a nice crowd in a neutral environment, I think is going to be something that is both realistic and something that we're going to strive for all year long.
Take us through this. As you mentioned, Chloe Wedge was a staple for your program for quite some time. The older Hanig sister, was there coming off the bench, being a valuable role model for you as well. But as you said, I look at your roster here, Hoots, and there's a lot of girls that we have talked about over the last year or two that have either a year, 2, maybe 3 years of varsity experience. So who's going to be a player or two early on in November that you're going to rely on as you kind of get to the first couple of games of the regular season and that Barnes County tournament coming up in December?
I think the first people you rely on, especially in games in the first part of the year, November, early December, is you gotta rely on your seniors. And I've been really excited. Kiana and Lee Root and Iris Richmond, Jada Von Bank. Jada hasn't given us a whole lot in the years past, but I anticipate that changing this year. All three of them, every one of our drills that we're doing, they're leading the pack, they're vocal, and they're leading by example if they're not doing it, vocally. So I've been really excited with what they've done thus far. And I'm hoping that the experience, Kiana and Jada have been playing varsity minutes for 4 years now. So I'm excited to see that experience show through early on to help us maybe get through those early season bumps that every team experiences. And we've got a good crop of juniors as well that have played for 3 or 4 years as well. So I'm really excited for the upperclassmen that we have and all the work that they've put in. We had a successful summer. A lot of girls put in a lot of work for us. And I'm really hoping that rolls in and pays dividends here early on.
As you take a look at your district here this season, Hoots, if I take your team out of it, who would be a team or two that you say, okay, it's probably going to go through them, so to speak? If we match up with them in the regular season, probably going to see them in a deep tournament run in districts and hopefully, in a regional run. Who would be a team or two that's going to, cause some problems here in District 1 this season?
First and foremost, Sargent County is they're a team that if we would have had the same 2-class system, they might have been the favorite coming in to begin with. That's how good they are. They return a ton of experience and a lot of girls that can play multiple positions. They've been a thorn in our side for years now. And they graduated pretty much one girl that contributed for them. So, that's kind of a focus of ours, is that when we get them, we hope to see them 2 or 3 times this year. Oaks has had a ton of success for many, many years, and Tri-State as well. I kind of anticipate those 3 being the top, but you have no idea. Young girls can come out of the woodworks, and 7th and 8th graders can all of a sudden be contributors. And I might not know their names right now, but come January, February, they're probably going to be household names. And I might be, forgetting what I'm saying right now. But, I'm looking forward to a lot of teams that we haven't gotten to see a whole lot this year, all of a sudden now counting toward our district standings.
And the one thing, as you mentioned, to a 7th, 8th grader that you've had on your team in Violet Richmond, I think people have probably said that, seeing her a little bit here, Hoots. What's something that you hope to see Violet's maturation just continue to grow to another season of, being in your system here at a varsity level? Yeah,
first year junior high players in my system have struggled kind of before Christmas, and then they start to figure things out. And she kind of had the same thing. If you'd go back and ask her, how'd you play before Christmas last year? She wouldn't give you a whole lot of positive. She really started to mature over Christmas break and then kind of broke out in that second half of the year. And she's only gotten better since last year. She's added a lot to her game. In our scrimmage we had this past week and in practice every single day, she's defensively is where she's really improved. She's got active hands. Her feet are so quick. It's going to be tough for girls one-on-one to get by her. She anticipates really well. Does a good job of kind of leaking out when girls secure a rebound and gives us an opportunity to get out and run in transition. And her offensive game is second to none on our team. She's got almost every trick in the book. So I'm really excited to see year 2 of her kind of flourishing in our system. She's extremely unselfish as well, looks to make other girls, she knows she's going to get an extra body here and there. And she's done a really nice job of identifying where the help's coming from and trying to find the open girl.
Last thing for you, Hoots, I know sometimes when we have a reclassification a little bit, some people are wondering what's the shot clock going to be like, what's the quarters going to be like. So just for a standard basketball fan that comes either to the Raider Dome or watches Class B girls basketball this year, for the fans, how much is going to change? How much is similar? What do you expect just from the fans' point of view here, Hoots, as we kind of get into November and December for what, Class B now in this 3-class system is going to look like?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, that the double bonus rule that they've changed now. So every quarter at 5 team fouls, you'll be shooting 2 instead of the 1 and 1 when you got to 7.5. That'll reset at the end of every quarter. So that's something that'll take a little bit of adjusting. It's going to take adjusting on my end as well. And it's just something we briefly talked about with the girls. And it's just like, you don't need to worry about that. When you step up to the line, the ref's going to tell you how many shots you're going to take. Besides that, though, the basketball is going to stay the same. We're same shot clock, and I hope that the pace that we play with the shot clock will be irrelevant. So defensively, we want to drain the shot clock, and offensively, we want to score as quickly as possible. So I'm really hopeful that the brand of basketball that Maple River plays this year is something that excites people and that gets them to come back after the first time they see us.
Hoots, as always, thanks so much for your time, and we'll see you Tuesday night at the Raider Dome for the season opener against the Pirates.
Thanks, Chase.
As we have, again, Hankinson and Maple River coming up on Tuesday night right here on yourliveevent.com. That is Nathan Hoots with the Maple River Raiders girls basketball team.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsboro, North Dakota. The Hillsboro Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsboro. More at 104.
Joining us now from the Central Cast Squirrels, he is Jay Bachman, head coach on the girls basketball program for the Squirrels. And Jay, it's a brand new season in a lot of different ways. One, you're playing in a new class this season. Number two, you have a ton of varsity experience when you look at last year's roster, who was seniors that are no longer there, which gives new opportunities. Also, there's going to be one or two different rule changes as we come into the season as well. So before we get to all of that, just how has the first, a little bit of practice been going with some new faces coming into the fold here for the Squirrels this season, Jay?
It's been really good. A lot of fresh ideas, a lot of fresh faces. We have some girls back that played some time last year in the state tournament for us and, made some big plays for us. But I don't return any starters. I lost 7 seniors, but that honestly we haven't really been dwelling on it. Like the girls have come every day, ready to go, ready to rock and roll, pushing each other, trying to make us better every day. We've had 8 practices so far, and we've gotten better every day. We're asking some girls to do some new things that they haven't had to do before. So that's fun to see, challenging at times, but definitely fun. And it's just been a really good environment at practice. And we're really looking forward to moving forward.
Take us through here, just the jumping classes, going from 2 classes to 3. You guys are in the middle class here. You're still going to play quarters. You still got the same shot clock. But at the end of the day, Jay, there's going to be a lot of teams that you've played before in Class B that are joining you. But then here you sprinkle in a Valley City, you sprinkle in a Wahpeton, you add in a Devil's Lake and some teams that you maybe haven't played at all, unless it was in the summer months, so to speak, at some camps. So what's the biggest challenge, or what's the biggest change from your point of view, being in this middle class compared to what it's been, where we've all been so accustomed to Class A and Class B for how many years here in North Dakota?
Yeah. So I would say our schedule is still probably evenly split between teams that we've played before and then new teams. We've added teams this year. Like you said, we play Valley City now. We play Wahpeton. We played Turtle Lake. We're going to play in the Valley City holiday tournament. So we're going to play teams there that from out west, that we don't normally play. So that's really fun. Like, I've told the girls too, like, we're going to have our normal Region 1 teams, right? We're going to play Lisbon. We're going to play Kindred. We're going to play Northern Gas. We're going to play those teams. But it's fun to get to play those new teams because we don't know them. But on the flip side, they don't know us, right? Like, maybe they've seen us on TV or on film, but it's an exciting time. It's an exciting thing to go up and play Devil's Lake. I'm excited for it. I hope it works amazingly. I hope after the season, we look back and we say, this was the greatest thing that, North Dakota basketball has ever done. I hope it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. There's going to be some growing pains there. There's going to be some things that are hard. There's going to be some struggles. There's going to be some whining and complaining. But that comes with anything new. I know people personally that want it to fail and they just think this is a terrible thing, but I want it to succeed. I want it to succeed because I want it to succeed for the kids. Like, I want it to be good for the kids. That's what this whole thing was for, to get more kids playing, to get more kids recognition, to get a competitive balance. I hope it works. And I think we're going to see some really good basketball on the girls' side and on the boys' side. We're going to see some really good basketball. And I hope it works, and it's going to be a really fun year.
Every year there's always some different changes too when it comes to fouls, or what the officials are kind of going to maybe call a little bit more than prior years. This year, Jay, I think for fans going to the first couple of games, they're going to go 5 fouls. You're shooting free throws. What's going on here? And that kind of goes to the collegiate game a little bit. If you've been to a college women's basketball game in recent years, you've seen the 5 it's double bonus, it resets every quarter. How do you utilize that as a coach, or is it, hey, let's just swim the first couple of games, see what happens? How do we make coaching changes? How do you viewpoint it, before you get into the season here with that rule change, Jay?
So I think, we've talked about it. The girls have talked about it. I've seen it on people's social medias about 72 times saying, don't be the person that's screaming that it's a double bonus or it's not. Don't be the person screaming because it's 5 fouls, right? Because every quarter you get 5 fouls, then you shoot a double bonus. Resets every quarter. I don't think it's like the rule wise, it's not hard to grasp. I think you can understand that. I think it does. There's a big point of play when there's no bonus, like there's no 1-and-1s. That's the biggest thing that for us is going to change is there's no 1-and-1s, right? Like, so really it takes a mediocre free throw shooter and makes it easier for them, right? Because they don't have the stress. Oh, I get to shoot the second one no matter what, right? Like that's the part that's interesting is there's not that extra pressure. It's going to take a little getting used to. I don't think personally it's going to be terribly hard. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. I really don't. I'm kind of a sink or swim guy, like you said. So if we're going to swim, we're going to swim. If we're going to sink, we're going to sink. The more I stress out about something, the more my team stresses out. So if I can stay calm and cool, then my team is going to. So, you just take it as it is and just kind of go with it. I know that first few games, though, there's going to be some people in the stands screaming. But I mean, you'll have to get over it, just like everybody did, just like the coaches had to. So it'll be fine. It'll be funny though that first game, but it'll work out fine.
Yeah, it's like looking at a roster to see who's wearing the new number 5 this year. Then maybe you should have like that rules where, oh, by the way, here's 1 or 2 subtle rule changes that are going to come with it. Is there anything from last year's run, the last couple of years that you had, Jay, with these girls that have been either on varsity, maybe they were JVC squad, maybe for some of these girls, they were in the stands watching because they were that young. Now they're getting their opportunity to be part of that JV varsity. Is there anything that you hope they take away from the last couple of years of Central Cass girls basketball to, transition into Class A and keep that brand, that style that you want to play on the court? What do you hope they kind of take from yesteryear's team, so to speak, Jay, into this season?
I think if they can take our hard work ethic and how hard we play, anybody can play basketball, right? But it's the person who puts in that extra time, who puts in that extra effort, who's willing to go in the summer in July and shoot around and shoot baskets by themselves, right? Like if the girls, if anything so far, it's have they taken over that hard work mentality? Every day we come, we get better. Because my last few years as a team, it didn't matter who we were playing the next night or who we played the night before. Our practices were hard, and not hard as in, hey, get on the line and run. They were hard as in, we're going to push each other to make each other better. I know this is just a dribbling, defensive drill, but we're going to push each other to make it hard. And the girls so far, these 8 practices have really done a good job of that. It all comes back to, your work ethic, your grit. How hard are you willing to push each other? And the girls have done a really good job. Like we've had a very successful program, these last 5 years, really 6 years. And these girls now that I have that are freshmen and sophomores were, they were in elementary school when we went to state, in 2020. So it's just really fun to see. It's fun to see them grow. Basketball is just talked about differently in our town right now. We've always had really good sports, and basketball just has seemed to just kind of rise to the top of the barrel. So it's just really fun to see it talked about with around our town and our community. And I think that's just a testament to the girls' hard work, not me. Like I want them to work hard. I don't tell, right? That's on them. Like they're doing it. The girls are embracing it, and we're looking to have a really good season. It's going to be way different for the Squirrels this year, the boys and the girls. But I think when it comes down to it, I think we're gonna turn a few heads, and we're gonna push ourselves, and we're gonna push the people we play. So it's gonna be a really fun year. It's gonna be a really exciting year.
That's my last follow-up question for you here. Jay was kind of leading to the point, whether it's, the first game of the season coming up here, not too far from now, in the week and a half for you, or whether it's, hey, you get into February and you're starting to kind of get that postseason push, which will be similar for you guys, that region tournament, potentially a state qualifying game to get to state, which will be new, depending on those teams who play it. But whether it's game number 1 or game number 20, if someone is a Central Cass fan, or maybe it's the first time they'll see you in that holiday tournament in Valley City, maybe they'll see you middle of January, what do you hope that the fans or opposing teams take away from playing Central Cass this season?
I mean, how hard we work and how fast we play. We're not going to be the biggest team. We might be the fastest team, but how hard we work and how fast we work and how well we play together. No one can do it on their own. Last year's team, we had some girls that stood out, but they couldn't do it alone, right? Like, we had girls that stepped up in huge moments and made huge plays that you didn't hear their name very often, but they stepped up because we played team basketball and we were a good team. And I hope that's what people think, is they work hard, they're fast, and they play as a team. Because if we can do those 3 things, we're going to be in every game we play this year. So it's going to be exciting. Like I said, it's going to be it should be a fun time for the Squirrels this year.
Jay, as always, thanks so much for your time. Happy Turkey Day, happy Thanksgiving, and see you in a gym near sooner rather than later, coming up in a few short weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Jay Bachman, head coach of the Central Cass Squirrels. We'll continue on our YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show after this.
Oh, chew! Oh, I hate these colds.
It could be more than just a cold.
What do you mean it could be more than just a cold?
Let's hear from Brenda at Trail District Health Unit.
We always want you to be aware of any temperatures, of course, signs of dehydration, body aches, the sneezing, the coughing, the sore throat, all those things that maybe you think you have a bad cold, but truthfully could be RSV, influenza, and of course it could be COVID.
It may be more than a cold. Learn more at Trail District Health Unit on how you can stay safe during cold and flu season.
Bank of North Dakota wants you to be confident when it's time to make student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident to calculate the maximum amount of student loan debt that is recommended based on your career choice. You can also learn how to apply for financial aid and get tips to cut education expenses. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident today.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Now we transition to the Minnesota side of the border, where Brad Dunham of the Norman County Eastern Hillsboro girls basketball team spoke with our own Kevin Kochman, and then we'll get to our senior spotlight with Halle Reitmeier from Climax-Fisher, who spoke with our own very own Joel Ansello.
Get a chance to chat girls basketball with the head coach of Norman County East and Hillsboro girls basketball, Brad Dunham, back for another year of coaching for the Titans, getting into the section play, of course, in Section 6 and back in the Pine Prairie Conference. Second year with the coaching there, of course, with the Norman County East and Hillsboro Titans, and 8th year of coaching basketball. And Brad, I know we're, it's the transition season from coaching defense for the Titan football team to the girls basketball program. I know you're excited and anxiously awaiting the girls basketball season to lift the lid. And, from that standpoint, how has the preseason been going so far?
It's been going really well. Second year in, the girls are, last year was kind of more of a learning curve for them, and me getting back into it after being off a few years. But, this year I have to say as a coach, it seems it's more like my team, not, coming in, starting new. The girls know my coaching style, philosophies, what I expect out of them, and that's one thing that's been really good. We have a bunch of seniors that saw a lot of time last year. So it's been going well. They're open to it. And, we're not reinventing the wheel by any means as far as that goes. But one thing we're really focusing on this year is attention to detail. What we have, but running it well and doing the little parts of it to make it go well. Not just running it to run it. So we're trying to utilize that a lot more. We've been really on that quite a bit. And then one huge thing is, just our mindset, and you see it in the youth today, especially young ladies, having that positive mindset and not, dwelling on the negatives and taking yourselves out of games. And, so it's been going really well so far. The first week and a half that we've been practicing, we're getting through a lot more than we're a lot further ahead than we were last year. I will tell you that right now. So that's a bright point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think 3 starters returning from last year's roster, but a host of seniors. So there's experience.
Yes. Yeah. We've got 3 that started and played significant minutes last year. And, the ones that didn't start also saw significant minutes. And, I think that's going to be a big advantage for us this year. Some of that game time stuff, having been out there, this year, and we did it last year. We're maxing out halves. Some girls, unless if they're seeing a significant amount of time on varsity, they probably won't see much JV, but we are, if there's some that, you don't get any better if you're getting 5 minutes in a half on varsity, so we're going to throw a half. We're going to try to get them in as much on JV and get some more of that game time experience. And that really benefited us last year as far as when we were doing that. We had a lot of girls that, eventually started, and we want to call it dominating a little bit more on JV. And then they gave us some really good, significant minutes on varsity. And I'm seeing that especially with our seniors and some of our juniors, as far as that goes on what we're going to get out of them this year on the floor.
Well, I know that, Section 6 will again be a tough section to get involved in. Got some really good ball clubs and coming back from last year. Underwood was a title winner, and they bring back a lot too. But just every year, there's always somebody's going to step up. And then you look at the conference, Pine Prairie Conference. This might be one of the more widespread, just really solid conferences where any given night could be somebody's night.
Yeah, it is. We have. There's always good competition up here in our section and, in our conference for sure, and a lot of really good experienced coaches that know, to get the best and get the most out of their girls. So it's a fight every night. And if you, like you just said, if you don't show up, and they have that mentality of, we'll play down because these guys aren't very good. It can come back to bite you. And so, we got to go just one game at a time, prepare one game. Don't look ahead. It's a long season, and then you throw with the competition we have in our conference and our section, we bump out of the section a little bit, and we, with the closer area towns, we go play Halle, and we got some of those 2A schools, which, everybody wonders why we play them, but, it's good competition, and wins, losses, whatever. If you can perform well, even if you don't get a win, it in the eyes of a coach, it is a win, because it's making us better at, when we get into some of those, the 1A stuff that we're going to be in, and it makes us better. So, and it's the best practice is just getting into games and going against somebody other than your friends. So, we're looking at a pretty successful. I think we're going to have a really, really successful year.
Well, like you say, there's a lot of growth and some teams that are going to step up. So hopefully that's part of the Titans, season. Get that next wave. So you get a chance to do any scrimmaging ahead of the season opener.
We have not. We're installing some. With schedules and stuff, getting into some of those scrimmages. It's not there. We've been really hitting it at practice, starting to go up and down a lot more. Trying to get fast-paced game type stuff going on. So I have mixed feelings on scrimmages. You know, you can go and play really, and go to a scrimmage and you play 3 games, and by the end it's they're dead tired. What are you really getting out of that third one? And so we've invited teams in the past, come over for a practice, things like that. This year it would just, like I said, with schedulings and commitments of other things, myself and what some of the girls have, we just didn't. And so we're gonna leave here for Thanksgiving break, get out and get a little time off. We had a morning practice here on Wednesday, and so families can leave and get to their destinations for Thanksgiving, and we'll get back Monday and get after it, prepare for our first game, which is on Tuesday against Rothsay.
That's right. Open the season against the Rothsay Tigers. So just looking at the team, yourself, you mentioned you've got some good returners. How about the coaching staff? Who do you have helping out with the program this year?
It's myself and Ryan Paul is my assistant. He's the JV coach. We are going to do some C squad games, and between myself and him, we will be splitting that task and getting there. So, which is, it'd be nice to have another set of eyes, but it's also, you look at the mindset of we're 2 people that they're going to need to learn our voice and the way we do it. So, we're going to do that. And, ultimately, after getting some minutes and getting through the season, a great part would be where we've got the kids that are playing C squad are going to give us great minutes on JV, and those ones that are playing JV will give us more minutes on varsity. And maybe eventually, we cut back some minutes on the C squad, because after, once Christmas break comes, we do invite our junior high up, to start learning the system that we have at this upper level. So we'll be bringing in some 7th and 8th graders, and they'll have the opportunity to practice with us, get a little game time experience, and start working towards, as they get older, being part of our system and part of our program. And I think that's going to be a huge building. We did that last year with some of our 8th graders, and those 8th graders saw significant minutes on the C squad, and they're, now they're going to, a lot of them are going to contribute a lot on our JV team, as 9th graders, because they've had that 1 year of experience in learning our styles, Coach Paul and myself, our styles of how we want it done. So that, so we're going to try to, like I said, we're going to max out halves as much as we can, get these girls as much time as possible. It's not a demotion. It's you think you're playing down, but if we can get them the minutes and make them better, it's going to be a plus for our program here.
Learning the game, all part of the fun. Well, certainly, Coach, appreciate it. Look forward to the season. Like you mentioned, kick off the season, or tip off the season against Rothsay on Tuesday night this upcoming week. Best of luck to the Titans in the season upcoming, and we'll look forward to seeing you out at many games throughout the year.
Thank you, Kevin.
As head coach of Norman County East Dual and Hillsboro girls basketball, Brad Dunham, joining us as we chat preseason previews and the R&J Coaches Show as we get things underway for the winter season.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsboro, North Dakota. The Hillsboro Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsboro. More at 104.
Time now for our senior spotlight on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. Today, talking with Halle Reitmeier from the Fisher Climax volleyball team. And Halle, I understand you made all conference this season. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Was this the first time you were on an all-conference team?
Yes, it is. I've gotten honorable mention the past 2 years. So it's kind of exciting to finally reach that goal.
Okay. And your team was fun to watch this season for sure, with Peyton Hoffman and quite a few of your classmates as well, part of that team.
Mm-hmm.
So let me learn a little bit more about you, Halle. What other activities are you involved in school besides volleyball?
So besides volleyball, I play basketball and then I run track in the spring. Um, I do a lot within the school. I'm in FFA, National Honor Society, Student Council. I try to be really involved in the community as well. Other than that, I play club volleyball as well in the spring. So, yeah, I keep myself pretty busy.
Yeah, I would imagine, and this getting close to Christmas would certainly be a really busy season for getting involved in the community.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
What kind of things have you got, or will you be taking part of that, or like through school or some other group?
So my senior class right now has a few fundraisers coming up, just like little things where we do meals. Like tonight we have our parent teacher conferences are tonight, so we put on a meal for the teachers.
Nice.
Yeah, and I guess we had a pancake feed yesterday for farmers for my FFA group. And then coming up, I know we do some give back days during the holiday season. Like we go around and we hand out hot chocolate and everything. We set up movies and pop popcorn for the students. And so just little things like that.
Okay. What is your favorite memory at Fisher High School?
Well, at Fisher High School, I mean, my favorite memories. Oh, that's kind of hard. I mean, obviously I've been involved with sports a lot, so it comes down to a lot of those. I mean, being able to, I had really great upperclassmen when I was younger, and being able to play with them was a lot of fun. Other than that, like we have ski trips every year. Going on the ski trips always my favorite memory.
Cross country.
Downhill.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're braver than I am.
Yeah. I mean, depends. I don't go on the black diamonds or anything, just like the smaller hills.
Maybe, I don't know if they still call those bunny hills or not, but that's okay.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to other students?
I'd say just finding that balance, like between sports and school and a social life is really important. Like, don't be afraid to take time to like give yourself a break and spend time with family. It's been really important for me the past like 2 years to kind of take a step back, realize that it's okay to take a break and to calm down for a minute. Just give yourself time to relax is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm.
There can be so much to try to cram in during the course of a day.
Sure. Yes.
What's your favorite subject in school, Halle?
I really like math. I'm done with all my math courses now in my senior year, but I guess at the moment, then that would make my favorite subject probably sociology right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got any plans for college and a major for next year?
I'm looking to go into nutrition and dietetics.
Okay.
I don't have a certain college picked out yet, but I'm starting the application process, or I'm in the middle of it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think you'll be doing 10 years from now?
I guess 10 years from now, I'd like to have a family, probably. I also can see myself like maybe owning my own business. That's something that like my family has always kind of wanted to do. So I can see myself maybe like having a family business, something where my sister and I work together, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as long as we're on the subject of things coming up, and you say you're involved with basketball, how do you think your team's going to do this season?
I think this will be a pretty good season for us. We've always been known to be a young team, and our younger girls are finally getting to that point where they're a little stronger in their game, and they're talented, and it's really I think it'll be a really positive season. And I think if we all continue to work hard and work together, that we'll have a pretty successful one.
All right. And we'll have some Climax-Fisher volleyball games on yourliveevent.com. And I think that'll cover it for our senior spotlight here. Halle Reitmeier, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your senior year.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll continue with the yourliveevent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation, right after this.
That does it for the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. It's presented to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation. Join us every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for the latest in and around the sports region here on YourLiveEvent.com.